Dear viewers, welcome to a guided tour of Villa Winternitz, which was built in 1932 by Adolf Loos and his colleague Karel Hotta for Mr. Josef Winternitz, who was a Prague Jewish lawyer and who lived here with his family. Josef Winternitz was born in 1896 in Prague to a poor Jewish family. He finished his studies first at grammar school and later at the university here in Prague, and he became a lawyer. In 1925 he opened his own law firm and he got plenty of clients all over Europe. Among them was the famous building company Kapsa & Miller from Pilsen here in the Czech Republic. This might be the connection between Mr. Josef Winternitz and Adolf Loos, who built his own villa. As you can tell, the house is quite simple when looking at it. It's very cubic, very simple. There are no decorations on the facade of the building, and there are just windows, and all the interesting stuff is hidden inside. He really liked using simple, plain facades, and as you can tell by looking at the northern facade of the building, there is a play with symmetry and asymmetry, which is also quite typical for Adolf Loos. This is the main entrance. Even though the door is quite small, it really is. Behind the door there is an original light panel which is right above your head when you enter. Then there's a small cloakroom, and when you leave your coat there you can approach the main living room, which is the most important room in the whole building. Right now we are standing in the main living room and the living space around us. The living room itself has about 60 square meters of space and about 4 meters of ceiling. The smaller dining room, which is behind my back, and a small drawing room both have about 20 square meters of floor space and about 2.5 meters of height. The reason for these differences is quite simple. It's called Raumplan, which is an invention of Adolf Loos's, and the idea behind Raumplan is quite simple. Every single room you want to design for your own house has different purpose, and therefore it should have different space available to you. In some rooms you invite your guests, in some rooms you don't, therefore you need more space for guests and less space for your family. It all means that the living room is going to be the biggest, because this is where you hold your events, this is where you invite your guests. There are more things typical for our floors that you can see around here. You can see a fireplace over there, you can see built-in furniture, you can see plenty of panels made of wood, you can see bricks. You can also see mirrors over there in the dining room and drawing room. After the Second World War, a kindergarten was founded in this villa, and since the kindergarten wasn't very rich, they didn't change anything, they didn't really need to change. Therefore, all the pieces of built-in furniture, all the windows, all the doors, all the metal parts of these windows and doors, all the floors are original. As you ascend the steps from the living room towards the dining room and drawing room, you can note above your head there are 2 more panels with lights that are original and that are a typical part of this house, because there are more of these. Now we moved from the living room into the dining room. As you can tell, the room itself is much smaller than the living room and is full of built-in furniture. There are cupboards over there, there's some kind of storing space for teapots and all that stuff. There is a hidden secret space which was most likely used for storing tablecloth, and behind these mirrors there is more storage, more cupboards for glasses, plates. You can see there are more drawers down there, and there are also quite handy tables that you can pull off when you need them. Right next to the dining room there's a small drawing room for a smaller company or society of people who wanted to have more peace and quiet during some kind of event that was taken in this building. If they wanted to have an oversight about the company that was down in the living room, they just stood up from their armchairs and they could look down upon the people that were in the living room. In the area of the dining room and the drawing room there is 5 doors. 1 leads in the kitchen, 2 in built-in wardrobes, 1 to the staircase and 1 in the library. The library, or the study of Mr. Josef Winternitz, is full of original built-in furniture, and also there's 1 more fireplace that you might have seen in the living room. Also the floors and the windows are original, as are the metal parts that are in them. room, dining room and drawing room. In the places where the guests would go, most of the surfaces are covered in wood, both floors and walls. In the private parts of the house, such as the staircase or bedrooms, there are floors covered in marmalone, and the rest of the surfaces is usually painted in bright colors that were renovated during the construction of this house. The first floor is private part of the house, which was only meant for the family, servants and possible guests who stayed overnight. Therefore, on the first floor you can find bedrooms and also a bathroom, a toilet and a cloakroom. Here you can see the bathroom, which is connected straight to the cloakroom, so you can go through the bathroom in the cloakroom directly. And here on my left hand side there's the bedroom of Mr. and Mrs. Winternitz. In the bedroom there is a couple of interesting things that are preserved in their original state, such as the light above heads of the bed, which is right there, or a special alcove in which the bed was placed originally, so it created much more intimate and even more private space. Next, there are two rooms for children. Both are covered in the same colors. Floors are red and the millions of windows are painted yellow and blue. There's also a room for a guest bedroom, but there are no colors in there. There's just a big window, a view of the west and therefore the sunset. The terrace on the first floor is accessible directly from 3 bedrooms on the first floor. It's got the same size as the living room, that means 60 square meters. The second floor was intended for the servants, namely the cook and the maid. They both had one room on the second floor that was rather small. They did have their own bathroom and a toilet, and there was also another terrace on the second floor, which is even slightly bigger than the terrace on the first floor. In the rooms on the second floor there's an exposition which is dedicated to the history of the family and also the villa itself. It was used by the family and possibly even guests and friends to enjoy a cup of coffee with a beautiful view of the centre of Prague. In the basement there was a separate flat for the housekeeper, his wife and their son. There was also laundry, a boiler room and 2 cellars. The history of the family and the house itself was quite dramatic. In 1932 the family of Josef Winternitz moved in the villa, but they only spent 9 years living here. In 1941 the house was taken from them and they were sent first to Terrace and later to Auschwitz. In 1944 Josef Winternitz and his son Peter died in Auschwitz. They were murdered in gas chambers upon arrival. Both Jenny Winternitz, the wife of Josef Winternitz, and their daughter Susanne survived the war and returned to Prague, but they never returned back to the villa. After the Second World War, a kindergarten was founded in the villa and it stayed here for 50 years. The house was returned to their family in 1997. It was in terrible shape and it needed reconstruction. The family decided to repair the house on their own and they succeeded in doing so. In 2017 the family decided to open the house to the public and to host a series of cultural events such as lectures, guided tours, exhibitions, theatre and so on and so on. Thank you for spending your precious virtual time with us today, and hopefully we'll meet here sometime in the future.